I have a daughter. She lives 2,000 miles away from me, and every time she calls, I can hear it. That little breath she takes right before she starts talking. Like she's bracing herself. It took me 84 years to understand that breath wasn't about love. That breath was something I put there. My name is Ruth. I have 3 children, and I loved every one of them so hard I pushed them all away. I was the mother who sent 14 texts when they hadn't called in 3 days. The mother who dug up old wounds at the dinner table and called it being honest. The mother who cried to get what she wanted and went silent to punish, and told herself the whole time that this was just what love looked like. I believed that for decades. Nobody tells you that love can be a form of control. Nobody tells you that I'm just worried about you can be a leash. That I gave up everything for you can be a debt you're collecting on. That can't you make a little more time for me can be a wall you build around someone until they figure out how to escape it. We take fear, real, desperate, bone-deep fear, and we dress it up in the word love. And then we're shocked when the people we love can't breathe. 5 years ago, my daughter Linda said something to me on the phone. She said, "Mom, I love you, but talking to you wears me out." I hung up, cried for 2 hours straight, and then I called her back to make her apologize for saying it. You see what I did there? Even in that moment, the moment she handed me the truth, I took her pain and made it about me. That night, I lay awake for a long time thinking about one question. Who am I actually loving here? Do I love Linda, or do I love the way Linda makes me feel needed? Those are not the same thing. And I had spent 60 years confusing them. I eventually started seeing a therapist at 81 years old. Young woman. Couldn't have been older than my youngest grandchild. She asked me, "Ruth, what are you most afraid of?" And I said, "I'm afraid they won't need me anymore." She looked at me and said, very quietly, "Have you ever considered that what they need might not be what you've been giving them?" I sat with that for a long time, couldn't say a word, because I already knew she was right. There's a woman in my community named Dolores, 87 years old, 5 kids. Every single one of them calls her, not out of obligation, they just call. I asked her once how she did it. She said, "Ruth, I made a decision a long time ago. I didn't want to be something my children had to deal with. I wanted to be somewhere they wanted to come back to." She let that sit for a second. Then she said, "Those are two very different things." I didn't fully understand her then. I do now. I started doing 3 things differently. First, when I'd pick up my phone to send a 3rd text in a row, I'd stop and ask myself, is this for her or is this for me? 9 times out of 10, I already knew the answer. Second, when Linda would say, "Mom, I'm really busy right now," I practiced saying, "Of course, sweetheart, I love you," and hanging up. Clean. No sigh. "No, I know you're busy. I just wanted to say one thing. Just, I love you. Bye." A third, and this one changed everything. I built a life. I took a watercolor class. I made friends I could actually call when I needed to talk. I stopped funneling every emotion I had through my children. And slowly, not right away, but slowly, Linda started calling more. Not every week, but when she did call, that little breath was gone. I'm 84 years old. I don't know how much time I have left. None of us do. But I know this. If I died tomorrow, Linda would grieve, and somewhere inside that grief, there would be some lightness. Because the last 2 years between us have been real. Easy. Good. Not because I became perfect. Because I finally stopped using love as a demand and started offering it as a gift. A demand says, "Because I love you, you owe me." A gift says, "Because I love you, you're free." The distance between those 2 sentences is the distance between a mother whose children dread calling and one they can't wait to talk to. If you watch this and you recognized yourself, whether you're the exhausted kid on the other end of the phone or the parent who isn't ready to hear this yet, send this to one person and leave me a comment. Tell me, in the relationships that matter most to you, are you giving love or are you collecting it? I'm not here to judge you. Lord knows I have no room to judge anybody. I just want to know that you're thinking about it.